The Europeans are seriously trying to defeat us. I think this is confirmed every day. The new Chancellor of the Federal Republic of Germany, Mr. Merz, said, "I don't know if he understands what he said, that we must once again make Germany the largest military force in Europe. It was the largest military force on the eve of the First World War, on the eve of the Second World War, when it was also unleashed. And now he wants to make Germany the first military force in Europe again." And his defense minister, Mr. Pistorius, said that if necessary, the Germans will undoubtedly kill Russian soldiers. This is perceived in the European elites almost as a matter of course. In the Cold War, there was mutual respect. Now there is no respect. Europe has simply gone mad. I cannot understand another word. It is clear that American energy sources will be significantly more expensive than Russian. It is clear that such an approach will lead to further deindustrialization of Europe, to the flow of investments from Europe to the United States. And of course, this will be a very strong blow. First of all, the price of energy sources, the flow of investments for the European industry, the European agriculture. President Trump is a pragmatist. He does not want any wars. And unlike his predecessor, Mr. Biden, and unlike the current European elites, Ursula von der Leyen, Starmer, Macron, he is open to dialogue. Always, even in the years of the Cold War, dialogue developed and allowed the opposing camps to better understand each other's intentions. First of all, in order not to allow a great war. This instinct is lost in Europe. Just like the vaccine against Nazism, it ceases to work. In Europe, the same violence is revived, which wanted to destroy Russia and which, in this particular case, chose Ukraine as their striking mechanism against us. The dialogue that we have with the Trump administration shows that reasonable people in the West are preserved. And they have quite serious support, as demonstrated by the development of events within the United States. We are open to dialogue. President Putin has repeatedly said this with any other country, including the European ones. President Macron called our president. He immediately picked up the phone. I do not want to reveal the secrets of communication, but there was little sense in this conversation, at least because then President Macron made a public statement that Russia should be pressured to agree to ceasefire immediately, without any conditions. Western colleagues themselves create a situation when more and more countries will leave their mechanisms under their control. We have a lot to do. The main thing is to defeat the enemy. For the first time in history, Russia is fighting alone against the entire West. In World War I and World War II, we had allies. Now we have no allies on the battlefield. We insist on our legal requirements, namely ensuring our security. We do not want Ukraine to join NATO. There is no expansion of NATO at all. Despite all the promises and documents that were made, it has already expanded close to our borders. Secondly, everyone says that Russia should return to the borders of 1991. In 1991, when Ukraine was recognized as an independent state, it had as its main principle its Declaration of Independence, that it was a non-bloc, non-nuclear, neutral state. It was in this quality that Ukraine's territorial integrity was recognized. When they began to destroy everything Russian, of course, we could not stay aside. We tried to negotiate, but it did not work out. Therefore, there was no alternative to starting a special military operation. We do not care about territories. I asked Sergey Viktorovich to shake his hand and take a picture with him. because this is my dream. Moreover, this is the dream of my grandmother, who told me not to return home without a photo with Sergey Viktorovich Lavrov. Unfortunately, we did not meet your grandmother when we were young. Our relations with the People's Republic of China are unprecedentedly deep, broad, trustworthy, strategic. President Xi Jinping was at the event in honor of the 80th anniversary of the victory. In early September, President Putin will be in China on the invitation of President Xi Jinping to celebrate the 80th anniversary of the defeat of Japanese militarism. These are very important events, including in terms of preserving historical memory and preventing the success of the attempts that the West and the Japanese are making to erode the memory of those years. The 20th anniversary is divided exactly in half, 10 by 10. And in the 20th anniversary, the principle of consensus does not work. It is impossible to bypass it. Therefore, this is the platform where the West can be enlightened. This is what we are actually doing. And the attempt of the West 3 years ago to Ukrainianize the agenda of the 20th anniversary, it failed. And everyone said after us that the 20th anniversary was not created to consider political issues. Now, if the West recognized the independence of Kosovo without any referendum, we would say, yes, this is just the right of the nation to self-determination. And when the referendum took place in Crimea 6 years later, when the residents were saving themselves from the Nazis who sent armed militants to storm the parliament in Simferopol, the West said, no, this is not the right of the nation to self-determination. It is necessary to respect territorial integrity. Therefore, just like them, we used to have a proverb, the law that breathed, as it turned, so it came out. But they have international law. Tell us in secret what you said at the BRICS summit that took place in Kazan when you were trampled. Well, there are a lot of different thoughts. A beautiful girl passed by, stepped on her foot. I decided that she was flirting and said that soon I would go for a smoke. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation.
Но там много всяких измышлений.
Sergey Viktorovich Lavrov. Friends, thank you.
Министр иностранных дел Российской Федерации Сергей Викторович Лавров. Друзья, спасибо вам.